And it's time for the first matchup in the new championship, the Cheap Lager Championships. And I'm excited about this, but I don't know how excited I am actually, because I'm going to have to drink a lot of cheap lager. Not sure if I'm going to enjoy it, but who knows? I might enjoy some of them. I might find some hidden gems that I didn't know about. I might try something again that I've tried a bit ago and didn't think was that good. Now, I got what I could catch with these things, so the cans aren't necessarily the same size and things like that. As you know from the last video, if you can get 4 40ml cans, 4 for less than a fiver, then that's basically cheap enough to be in the championship. So, like for example, one of the cans I got today was more than a fiver for a 4-pack, but it was 500ml cans, which I just realised. I just thought it was costing me a fortune for it. So anyway, let's introduce the contenders for the first matchup in the Cheap Lager Championship. Or is it Cheap Supermarket Lager? No, just the Cheap Lager Championship. So, first one, kicking off the whole thing, is the Galahad Premium Lager from Aldi. 4% ABV, traditionally brewed, and I know I've reviewed this before and I said I thought it was alright. So, that will be very interesting. And because it's up against one I have never reviewed. It is the Carling. The Carling Original Lager. It used to be called Carling Black Label back in the day. Now it's just called Carling, and it's a lot weaker than it used to be. This is a 500ml can. There you go, that's Carling, in case you've never seen a can of Carling before. It's 4% ABV. I thought it was lower than that. So it's 4% ABV for that one. And that's 4% ABV. So it's interesting. 4% ABV versus 4% ABV. I don't know why I thought Carling was less than that now, but... So not ridiculously low, 4% ABV is not too bad, I don't think, in lager terms. So, yeah, what can I say? So I'm going to need my water. Let's introduce the glasses. The glasses I'm going to use for this, the Augustina one's getting a little bit weird, a little bit weird around the outside. So I've got the old Rivington, the trusty Rivington one back, and the one that's closest to the Rivington is the Bud VAR glass. I think they're pretty much the same glass, but one's got a thicker bottom than the other, basically. So they are very similar. Just one looks taller than the other because it's got a thicker bottom. But there you go. So we're doing the Rivington and the Bud VAR. That might change slightly. I've got my Beer Merchants one, and I've also got that Augustina one that I could use if necessary. But anyway, this is the way it's looking at the moment. I can't wait to do this. Can't wait to see how I do with the cheap lagers. So let's get these poured into glasses and get the taste test underway. So the beers have been poured, and there wasn't much of a head on either of them, to be honest, but this one seems to have held its head a bit longer than this one. I'm going to look at the colours of these now. It's about the same amount in each, so that's good. Let's have a look at the... So the colours are identical. The colours are exactly the same. They are a little bit amber. They're not like a pale straw colour like some lagers are. They are kind of like an amber colour. We're mixed with a bit of a pale lager colour. That's got loads of carbonation running up the inside of the glass. That one doesn't seem to have any, so that would imply that this one was a little bit smoother than this one. Possibly the fact that this head retention is so much is probably because the bubbles are still flying up to the top there and probably creating, just constantly keeping this head afloat, keeping this head going, because the centre of that head is coming from all those bubbles racing to the top. This one doesn't seem to have much in the line of bubbles racing to the top. Anyway, what else can I say? I've looked at them. Let's get a nose on them. So first one, right hand side. Let's go. So that smells okay. There's a bit of malt in there. It's smelling quite malty, this one. I wouldn't have expected either of them to smell quite as malty as this one smells, to be honest. This is already becoming an interesting taste test. There's not much else. There's a little bit of lemon in there, a little bit of grass. But yeah, I'm getting a fair bit of brown bread. Bit of syrup. More of a nose on this than I thought I was going to get from either of them. That is interesting. I have no idea which one that is. Let's try the other one now. So let's go in for a smell on the other one. You know what? I'm going to tell you in a second which one's which. That seems quite flat in a way. Oh, hang on, we're getting a bit of a... Oh, that's different. That's not got as much of a nose at all. No, there's not much in that at all. It's got a tiny bit of a malty nose, but it's very, very weak. Oh yeah, getting a bit more now. So a bit of malt in that. But yeah, very thin in the nose, that one. So very thin in the nose, that one. This one's got more of a nose to it. This one's got a better nose than this one. Again. But let's tell you which one's which if you want to know. So this is which one is which. Okay, that was which one was which. So now you'll know whether which one I said has got the better nose. But I think it's still all about the taste rather than the nose. Again, this does seem a bit flat, this one. But I don't know. It all depends when I taste it. But yeah, I'm not getting much on the nose there at all. Right, okay, so let's swill out here. And we're going to start tasting these beers. Here we go. Cheers. So, quite a bit on the nose, nothing on the flavour. It's quite bubbly. There's no malt in the taste. Very, very little in the taste. Very little indeed on the taste. There's not really much I can comment on at all. There's very little there. There's a little bit of bitterness tingling the tongue. But as far as aroma is concerned, no, nothing. Nothing there at all. Okay, let's see with this one then, if it's any different. So this one does seem a bit flatter. It doesn't seem to be able to retain a head at all, but it might just be because it's smoother. So we'll have to see how this one tastes. Cheers. Yeah, certainly something bubbling under there. There's not much taste in that one either. I'm getting a bit more on that. I'm not gonna have a clue which one's which out of these. They're not good, either of these really, which is weird. Because I remember saying the Galahad was good when I reviewed it. It was quite good. I'm getting something from this. I'm not getting anything from this. Yeah, there's no off flavours, but there's no flavours to speak of, really. It's very hard. Yeah, there's a bit of a malt in the nose there, but there's nothing in the flavour. It's very odd. I'm going on the nose again for this one. Whereas that one's got nothing in the nose, but it's got a little something in the flavour. Yeah, getting a little bit of crisp dryness on this one. A little bit of lagery taste in this. Yeah, there is something there. There is some flavour in this one. And it is quite lively. Considering it looked a bit flat, it is quite lively. Yeah. I really hope we get better than this. Because these, I'm not particularly impressed with either of these. Maybe it's because I've just been drinking good lagers for quite a while now. And compared to them, these are just flavourless. But when we're comparing flavourless to flavourless, I think this one has a slightly more about it than this one. So, here's my prediction. So I think this one's the Galahad. I think this one is the Carling. And as a result, I think the Galahad's going to go through, if that's what this one is. But it'd be very interesting to see which one's which, because I'm not sure at all. It's really hard to tell. There's not a lot of flavour leaking out of either of these, but there is an awful lot of gas. Oh dear. Mm. Mm. Yeah, there is a little something from this one. That one is very, very light in flavour. Yeah, that one's going through. I'm going to guess this is the Galahad. But anyway, I'm going to find out when I come back in a minute. And I'm back. So, yes, that was hard. It's very hard, this, because this has got no taste whatsoever. That really is not good. There's just nothing to it, really. It's nothing to it at all. This one, the more it warms up, the more you get a bit of a flavour out of it. But there is a little something there. And what's there is quite pleasant. There is a bit of something there. It's, you know, it's 4%. You don't get a huge amount of flavour for 4% a lot of the time anyway. This was no exception. Anyway, people who haven't taken the spoiler earlier want to know whether I got it right. Well, luckily I did get it right. That is the Galahad. And this is the Carling. But I am a little disappointed with the Galahad. I thought the Galahad was better than this. I remember when I reviewed it, I had a can that I reviewed a while ago, and I was going on about how it's not amazing, but it was very good for the price. And it's, you know, if you just want something lagerish, which is an alright lager for a cheap price, then get yourself a can of this, which I still hold to that. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly pleasant. There is something there. You can smell something in the nose directly from the can. It's very light flavour, but there is something there. Whereas this is just weird. You get a bit of maltiness in the nose, but the flavour's just, there's nothing there. Getting a little bit of grassiness, but then that's it. There's no finish. It's just cold and wet and fizzy. There's a little bit of lagery taste there, but there's more lagery taste with this. So there you go. So I was right. This was the Carling, but I only knew it because, or thought I knew it because I figured that the Galahad would be the one with more flavour, just because I figured that Galahad was a better beer. Let's face it. But I say that's about 4 cans for about £4.50. This is 4 cans for about £2.79, something like that. So if you want a cheap lager, that doesn't break the bank, then definitely go for this one over this one. So the Carling's out. So now I've got 3 more cans of Carling to drink because I had to buy all these in 4-packs. That's alright because the Galahad now I can hold on to the second can out of the 4-pack now in the Galahad for the next round. So that is going up against the winner of the next matchup. So that'll be an interesting one to see. So stay tuned for that one. Carling, I've got to think about. I'm going to get through 4 cans of this now. Now that it's gone. But to be honest, I'm not going to look forward to finishing most of these. Really, I mean, the Galahad's all right. It's weird, really. I went through last summer. I went through quite a few Galahads and thought they're right. Yeah, it's not so bad. I'd say there's nothing wrong with either of them really. I just wouldn't think of a reason to drink this considering it doesn't really taste them much. Anyway, there you go. So Galahad is through. Carling is knocked out. Don't have to drink you again. To be honest, I'd have both of these over the Madry because the Madry just had that nasty taste. But there you go. Madry's not going to be in this championship. I don't think it's cheap enough to be in this championship. I don't think I'm going to put Madry in it. I might put Madry in the next championship actually, just to mention that. But yeah, that was not a nice tasting beer. It's alright. There you go. That's my ringing endorsement for the Galahad. It's alright. It's through to the next round. Till next time, have a good one.